Hello everyone! This week I'm going to be answering questions about art school that you guys asked me last week. Thank you so much for all the really great questions. A lot of really interesting things to talk about this week. I am doing Deco during this video, but I'm not going to talk about that at all. But all the materials and stuff and where I bought them will be listed in the video description, and if you have any questions about Deco, please feel free to ask and I will answer them for you. Before I start answering the questions, I thought I would do a little disclaimer at the beginning of this video, saying that all the opinions expressed here are based on my experiences with art school and are not necessarily facts, so please just take them with a grain of salt. People wanted to hear my opinion about things, so yeah, I guess let's get on with the questions. Alright, so question number 1 is, what kind of art school do I attend? I am currently attending the Art Institute of Portland in Portland, Oregon, and it is a media arts school. There's a big difference between media arts schools and fine arts schools. The school that I'm going to focuses more on entertainment arts, like animation, which is what I am studying, and like sound design, fashion design, stuff like that, as opposed to a fine arts school that focuses on like illustration and painting and stuff. So that's the kind of school that I am attending. It is a media arts school. Question number 2 is, how did I prepare to go to art school? I didn't. I registered in, I think it was like February of 2011, and I was supposed to start that fall term, but ended up starting summer term because they were having a tuition deal. So the time that I was supposed to spend preparing for school, I actually did not do anything to prepare at all because I started earlier than I thought I was going to, which was terribly exciting. So I did nothing to prepare, which is probably bad, but whatever. So next question is, what pieces do you recommend for putting in a portfolio to apply for an art school? I didn't really do a portfolio show or review when I started. I know that some of the degrees at my school need a portfolio. I did bring work and show the person that helped register me, but for a regular art school that does require that, I would just include foundational work like figure drawing and perspective and lighting. And I always say definitely look up the school's requirements for a portfolio. Like if you're applying to like SCAD, look up their requirements for a portfolio, because they're there for a reason. If they ask for certain things, be sure to include those things, and definitely look that up, because it's really important that you show that you can follow their requirements. So, and if they don't list their requirements on their website like schools usually do, I would find some way to contact someone to find out what you actually need to put in a portfolio when you're applying for a school. So yeah. Question number 4 is, what is the level of skill that you need to have when entering art school? Okay. From my own experience, the students at my school, the level of skill varies very greatly. There's some people who enter that are really, really talented and they're already really far developed with their art skills. It just depends on how dedicated you are to learn your craft before you decide to come to school. When I started, I had already had probably 12 years of drawing or something like that, so my art skills were already pretty highly advanced. But there's some people who go into school that their skills are still like at high school level and they haven't practiced that much, but they know that they are coming to school to learn to improve their skills. So it really, really does vary depending on the person. So there is no like standard level of skill. It just depends on like your age and how much you've practiced and stuff like that. So question number 5 is, how old was I when I entered art school? I was 24, which is late. Actually, at my school, there are a lot of older people. There's people that are older than me, and I'm almost 27. There's people in their 40s at my school, so it really doesn't matter that much, I guess, how old you are, because it seems from my experience that the people who come straight out of high school, not saying that this is a fact or anything, I've noticed that a lot of people who come straight out of high school tend to drop out because art school is extremely difficult, and if you don't feel like you want to put the time and effort into it, it's a lot of work. So the people tend to be in their early to mid 20s is the majority of the age, and then there's a few people that are a little bit younger than that, like 18, 19, but generally tend to be like early to mid to late 20s. So it varies depending on the school. So question number 6 is, how expensive is art school? I got asked this a lot. Art school is extremely expensive. That's why they always tell you, make sure you definitely want to go to art school, because it is extremely expensive. And I'm basing everything off of American schooling, because I'm not sure about like how European schooling works or Canadian schooling works. I don't know how other countries do their tuition prices or whatever. But my school for the full 4 years is $90,000, and that's because I'm going to a trade school, so it's a lot cheaper than a fine art school, because I have a friend who's going to PNCA, which is the Pacific Northwest College of Art, which is right down the street from my school, and her school costs $300,000. So fine art school tends to be more expensive, and it also depends on the school you're going to, how much the tuition will cost. But be prepared that it is extremely expensive. It's not cheap. That's why you definitely need to know that that's what you want to do before you start doing it, because it'll put you in debt real quick. So yeah. So question number 7 is, how do you go about getting an art scholarship? This is actually something I do not know about, because I do not have any scholarships. I've never applied. My roommate Brittany has a merit scholarship for getting good grades at school, and that's just something that she applied for, I believe, just in the financial aid office at school. I'd say that's probably your best bet, is look them up online and check with the school that you want to go to and see, hey, what are the like options for scholarships and stuff that I can get, and they will help you out with that, because that's their job. So yeah, I would definitely do a little research and contact your school that you want to apply for to find out about scholarships. Question number 8 is the education you receive worth the amount of money that the school costs? Yes. I personally think that the money that I've spent has been well worth it. People will argue that that's not true, but it again depends on the person. I feel that if you take advantage of the education that's being provided to you, it's definitely worth the money. But I've seen people who have come in and they pay all this money and they just slack off and they skip class and all that kind of stuff, and they don't do their homework. And those people, I feel, do not get their money's worth, because it is very expensive, and the only way you're going to get the education is if you actually put the time in to practice the things you're being taught and want to learn it. So it really depends on the person. Again, it seems like it always depends on the person, but it is really true. I feel that the tuition is fair. It's extremely expensive, but you have access to all these cool things that you wouldn't have access to if you weren't in school. So, and it gives you an opportunity to network with your fellow students, and networking is extremely important when you're going into like animation, for example. Like I've met all these people that I would never have met because I'm at school. Like my animation teacher worked for Disney for 10 years. So, and now I know her, and like my department director, she like knows like John Lasseter and stuff like that. So it's just like it's very helpful to go to art school just for the networking purposes. So yeah, it's definitely worth it if you take advantage of it. Question number 9 is, what have I learned at art school, and has it helped you improve as an artist? Yes, I have learned so much stuff going to art school, but again, it sort of relates back to the last question. It's because I've taken advantage of the fact that I have all this education that's open to me. I've taken classes doing pretty much everything, and now I know how to do so many things that I never would have been able to learn without having like the available technology and the people willing to teach me how to do things. I can't list all the stuff that I've learned to do. I can put a list in the video description if you guys want to see it, of all the classes I've taken and stuff and all the things that I know how to do now. But it's a huge list. Like I can animate in 2D and 3D. I can do video editing. I can do sound design. I can do script writing, acting. I can do sculpting, all that kind of stuff I would not have ever been able to learn how to do if I hadn't gone to art school. So definitely has helped me become a more well-rounded artist. Yeah. Number 10 is what classes have I taken and which class has been my favorite. I will put a list of all the classes I've taken in the video description. I've taken 2.5 years worth of classes. I can't read them all out right now. It would take too long. But yeah, favorite class, probably I'm in a comics class right now. That's one of my favorites. And sculpting was really fun too. I liked that a lot. Question number 11, did art school influence my art style? Not really. I already had my own pretty well-rounded art style before I started school. Some people do and some people don't. Just depends on how much you've practiced beforehand. So question number 12, is art school hard? Yes, it's extremely difficult. It's very, very, very work heavy. If you are not prepared to work, do not go to art school. You will be pulling all-nighters and not sleeping and being stressed out for like 4 years. It's very hard. That's why they have such a high dropout rate, because it's very difficult and a lot of people aren't prepared to work. But if you really want it, that wouldn't matter. Like, I don't mind the workload anymore. At first I was kind of daunted by it, but I've gotten used to it by now, so it's not that hard. But it's difficult when you start out, so be prepared to work if you want to go to art school. Question number 13, has art school made you a better artist other than providing you an excuse to practice art often? The only way to become a better artist is to practice often. That's the only way. You can study and you can like observe as much as you want, but if you are not putting the things you've studied into practice, you're not going to improve. That's just how it works. So yeah, art school's definitely helped me improve as an artist. It's made me a better artist, more well-rounded, since I can do so many things now that I couldn't before. So yeah, it's definitely made me a better artist. Question 14. This is one of the ones that I got a lot. Did your parents and or family oppose to you going to art school at all? I know that a lot of people have a problem with this, and this is another one of those things that disclaimer kind of applies to. This is just my opinion, so take it as you like. My mom wanted me to do what I wanted to do, and I know I'm one of those very lucky people that has a parent that wants them to be able to do whatever they want to do, but I know that there are people out there whose parents do not want them to go to art school. I would say, yeah, it's kind of hard to give advice about that, but my mom was very supportive, and she still is, so I'm very lucky about that. And that sort of leads into the next question is, what would you do if you have an unsupporting family who don't want you to go to art school? Do what you've got to do. That's all I can say. If you want to be an animator, be an animator. Go to school and learn to do that. Even if your parents don't support that, it's your life, not theirs. You're not going to be living with your parents forever. Unless your parents are paying for your school, then you do what your parents want. But I have loans, and I pay the rest out of pocket for my schooling. So if you want it, you got to go for it. That's all I can really say about that. I know it's hard, but you got to do what you got to do. All right, so the last question, and I'm running a little short on time now, is what do you say when people say that you won't be able to earn any money from illustration or having a career in the arts? That's not actually true. I don't know about fine arts, like painting or anything, but I know that illustration, if you're working freelance and you're good, you can make a fairly large amount of money doing that. It's very hard to get into doing that, but if you're dedicated and want to do it, you can. Animators, if you work at like Disney or something, you're making 6 figures. So it's hard to start out with, and yes, you won't be making any money, but if you love it, it shouldn't matter how much money you're making. That's just my opinion. I kind of plowed through these questions really quickly, and I'm sorry about that. So if you guys want me to do another video with more commentary about art school, please ask some more questions and I will do that again. But yeah, so I guess that's all I have time for. Here's some really sexy pictures of my camera that I decoed that I took. But yeah, so if you have any more questions, and keep asking questions for the FAQ because that's going to be coming up too. And any more art school questions would be really appreciated. I can answer them maybe a little bit more slowly next time. But yeah, I guess that is everything, and thanks for watching, everyone.